Welcome everybody.
Hello and welcome this afternoon to the 2018 Heritage Cup Final. Weston Bears up against Adamstown Rosebud this afternoon in the second edition of this finale. Last year it was Adamstown Rosebud who knocked over Edgeworth in the final, 4-3, I should say 3-2 on penalties. That particular grand final was. This year Weston looking to get their hands on the silverware for a first time. Adamstown looking to go back to back. This afternoon I've got Damien Smith with me in commentary, and Smudge, perfect conditions, isn't it, for the second year of the Heritage Cup?
Yes, absolutely perfect conditions here at Edgeworth Oval, and it's a great opportunity for both sides to iron out some cobwebs before the start of the season.
And good to be back for another year as well. This is pretty much the start of our season here on Bar TV. Next week the NPL kicks off proper. Round one gets underway and another big season awaits.
Yeah, it's been a great off-season, spending time with the family, missing football, but it all begins next week and looking forward to it.
Yeah, the side's just about to make their way onto the ground, but I'll just give you the team news here. So Weston, we'll run through both of the sides. So for Weston in goals there's number 1, Kane Runge, who returns to the side after being with the Jets youth in the off-season. Q Yallians is starting for the Bears this afternoon in 27. Number 34 is Nathan Morris, who of course returns from the Jaffers. Jordan Jackson is in the back line in 32. Max Foster in 41. 21 Chris Hurley. 33 Cooper Buswell. 60 is Jamie Subat, who's back at the club after spending 2017 at Thornton. Josh Mcguire, he's another new recruit from Charlestown. He'll take the field in 26, along with Jackson Burston in 31. And 52, Beau Wilkins returns to his old stomping ground here at Edgeworth. On the bench for the Bears, number 24, Regan Lundy. 54, Tegan Marcus. 29 is Sam Ford. The backup goalkeeper is Jay Snedden. 37 is Zach Jokinen. And 23 is Regan Payne. So that's how the Bears line up this afternoon. They've come through the Heritage Cup in, well, perfect form. They've had 4 wins from 4. They beat the Edgeworth Eagles 2-0 in round 1, the New Lambton Eagles 2-1 in round 2, Lake Mcquarrie 1-0 in round 3, and then this morning here at Jack McLaughlin Oval they beat Dudley Redhead 3-2. For Adamstown, this is how they line up this afternoon. In goals is number 21, Isaac Terry, who played at Hamilton Olympic last season. 4 is Ben Higgins, making the move across from Broadmeadow Magic. 5 is Luke Rutledge. 3, Robbie Turnbull. 11 is Turkey Al-Wasaidi. Tom Cox makes another appearance for Adamstown after spending 2017 and much of his early career at Hamilton Olympic. 7 is Tim Davies. 6, Judd Duncan. 9, Connor Hayden. 10, Chris Berlin. And 2 is Danilo O'Brien on the bench for them. 14, Ollie Davies. 18, Jordan Elphick makes the move from Maitland, as does 8, Matt Sokulski. Number 17 is Gotcha Abshalava, the Georgian. 13 is Alex Graham, another mover from Hamilton. Number 1, Dominic Fox, the backup keeper. And 16 is Matt Randall, Smudge. So bigger benches for the Heritage Cup, which is allowed. The coaches for, in the dugout for Weston is Steve Pickett. He's in his second year back here at Weston, and he won Coach of the Year back in 2014 in a stint up with the Bears where they went down in the grand final to the Lambton Jaffers, a Job Wheelhouse-inspired Lambton Jaffers. I'm sure we've seen that plenty of times over the years. Of course, last year he led the Jaffers to that win over Edgeworth. For Adamstown, Shane Cansdale Sheriff, he's in his first year of coaching at the Rosebuds, former veteran of league football over in the UK. And it'll be interesting to see how he leads the Rosebuds in 2018. It's 26 degrees here at Edgeworth. Very warm afternoon for football. Not as warm as we thought. And the breeze is a nice one from the east. 16 kilometres an hour. It is very cooling, which is great for the players out there as we see them switch sides. No chance of rain. Humidity just 50%. So couldn't be better. Our referee for this afternoon's match is James Cleal.
Yeah, Bart, very intriguing game today. Both sides, very youthful sides, but they've got some experience. Talking to Steve Pickett before the game, he's kept quite a few players from last year. They're young players, however, he's brought in some experience. Cool Jaylins, Josh Mcguire, Jamie Subert, and Nathan Morris is back at the club. So some experience there, and I like with Adamstown, bringing Benny Higgins across. You've got your Robbie Turnbulls and Chris Berlin up front with a host of youngsters.
Yeah, two sides who had a 2017 that they would rather forget, looking to make a bright start to 2018. And there would be nothing better to get their hands on the first silverware on offer this season. James Cleal about to get us underway, and we are underway in the second Heritage Cup final. It was Adamstown who took the cookies last year in a penalty shootout against Edgeworth. Can they do it again, Smudge? Can they make it back-to-back Heritage Cup successes?
Yeah, I think so, but I think, I don't know, Edgeworth are going to be a dark horse this year in the local NPL. I think the additions of Jay Kulens, also Kuhl Jalen's, Josh Mcguire from Charlestown, and Nathan Morris, who was with the championship winning side at Lambton last year. Plus, they got all the young players with that year experience. So I think they're going to be tough to beat tonight. However, it is their fifth game, where Adamstown's only played 4 games so far. Or this is Adamstown's 4th game, sorry. So they'll be a little bit fresher than Weston. However, my predictions are Weston for the Heritage Cup.
Yeah, Weston, of course, coming through that pool with 5 teams, which was dubbed the pool of death, as we see Isaac Terry get his first touch of the afternoon. He was at Hamilton Olympic last season, looking to make an impact in goals for the Rosebuds this year. Yeah, so it really was a tough run for Weston. They were in the pool with Dudley Redhead, Edgeworth, Lake Mcquarrie, and New Lambton as well. And Dudley Redhead, while they are in the Zone Premier League, they are an impressive side. And they almost knocked over Weston this morning as we see this ball whipped in. And Adamstown looking to get on the end of it. Just a scuffed strike from Judd Duncan. Jackson plays it back to Kane Runge, who looks long and up over halfway. Up rose Ben Higgins. He's dropped here for Jamie Subat, who's into the box. Subat with an early strike, and he should win his side an early corner here. Has he done well enough, Luke Rutledge? Don't think so. It will be an early corner for the Bears, just to apply some pressure here, Smudge. Yeah,
it's great to have Jamie Subat playing. I think he's coaching 20s as well at Weston, so he's sort of going to be an impact player for Weston as well for first grade. But he's like a Simons for Sydney FC. He can be a pest at times. Like then, his nice challenge on Higgins, put him off balance, and that created the chance. So he could be a real a great addition for Weston this year.
And this is a great addition for Weston. This man about to whip in this corner. Nathan Morris is back at his junior club, which is fantastic to see. After winning the championship with Lambton last year, he whips it in and it was almost an early goal. Well, he has the ball on a string from the set piece, Nathan Morris, and he almost set up Jamie Subat and the Bears opener in the Heritage Cup final this afternoon.
Yeah, I think Jamie was a little bit disappointed with that. He probably should have put that away as a free header inside the 6-yard box. That's bread and butter for him.
Yeah, Jamie Subat was here back he was at Weston back in 2015, and I remember his impact off the bench was immense for then the Trevor Morris coach side. He's had countless matches where he made a significant impact off the bench. Here is Jordan Jackson in 32. It'll be better for the experience, as there's a commentator's curse as he sprays that one over the sideline. It'll be better for the experience last year. He spent some time here at Edgeworth before moving to Weston last year. That's what we're talking about, Smudge. These Weston players who had that really tough year last year, they're only going to be better for that.
That's right. That year of experience to harden up, plus with these experienced players that come on board, just guide them around the park. Having a Dutch international playing at the back is just like it's a dream come true for some of these young players. But just looking at the two sides here, contrasting shapes. Adamstown going more like a 4-4-2, traditional 4-4-2, playing 2 wide midfielders, where Stevie Pickett set up with a 3-5-2 for Weston, with Jay Killens playing like a master, like a Supremo role at the back, sort of sweeping in. So it'll be interesting to see how these two formations go against each other.
Well, here's Robbie Turnbull racing down the right side, tries to release Al-Wasaidi. This is the young man from Saudi Arabia. And he's one to watch this season for the Rosebuds. Very technically gifted. Spent some time in, as I said, grew up in Saudi Arabia and then over in the US. He's come over here, and Shane Cansdale Sheriff is very excited about what he can bring to this NPL and Adamstown in 2018.
That's well played by Adamstown. They've kept the ball for about 6-7 passes. Great steal by Weston.
Been turned over to Josh Mcguire, who then has given it up. Here's Tim Davies. Been at Wall's End at the past, and remember him from the
great little run through
grand final a couple of years ago as it's threaded through for Tom Cox, and then on the volley was Connor Hayden. He just couldn't keep it down.
Yeah, I had Timmy Davies at he played 20s and 19s through Broadmeadow Magic, probably quite a few years ago now. Technically a very, very good player. Very neat and tidy on the ball. Is a great addition to Adamstown.
And good to see him back playing in the NPL as well. In the top flight. Josh Mcguire. And so much time there just to chest it off to Subat, and this one chipped over the top for Isaac Terry.
Yeah, Joshy Mcguire trying to make that 4-1 run beyond the back four of Adamstown. Play like Josh, you need him into his feet rather than... Oh,
this one's turned over, and it's a poor turnover. Jamie Subat, can he make Adamstown pay? He hasn't. He's had a couple of early chances. That's his third, Jamie Subat. Few Yallians now. Stepped away from O'Brien.
So the beauty about Kuehl playing in the centre of the back three, he'll be free a lot of times. He can actually, like a Ned Zilic, go into midfield, pick up the ball, create that extra man like he did just before.
Here's Cooper Buswell. Gee, that was good vision. Just couldn't quite find Hurley. He was another impressive player last year. Chris Hurley for Weston. Wilkins puts his body on the line. Should say it's Jackson Burston down there in the 31 for Weston. He was at Lambton last year. Really didn't get a look in with the side that Lambton had in 2017. They had a star-studded lineup. Here is Hurley. And Tom Cox and Hurley just in a bit of a tangle, and Adamstown.
So I've noticed nice and early these contrasting shapes, the 3-5-2 versus the 4-4-2. Adamstown tend to have their two wide midfielders nice and wide. In defence, they need to tuck in because Weston's got three in the centre there, and they're getting a bit of space playing the 1-2s in and around the midfielders of Adamstown. So that's well played. That's very well played.
Burst and great touch on to Buswell now, and there's space in the front third for the Bears now. Subat threads it back to Buswell. Just couldn't quite get it under his control. He had such an impressive season last year, Cooper Buswell.
And again, so we're talking about 3 versus 2 in the middle of the park, and like the two Adamstown wide midfielders stay wide. They need to tuck in defence. Otherwise, there's going to be space there to go through the centre for Weston, like they did just then.
Managed just the 18 goals last year. Did the Bears in 20 matches. Cooper Buswell scored 4 of them. He was their leading scorer. So that was really their issue in 2017. I haven't had an issue with scoring thus far, as Subat just caught offside. Thus far in the Heritage Cup, they scored twice against the Edgeworth Eagles, twice against New Lambton Eagles, once against Lake Mcquarrie, and then 3 times against Dudley Redhead. Defensively, they were quite sound for a side down the bottom of the ladder. Now, in terms of sides up the top, not that sound. Weston.
Oh, yeah, totally. The thing with Steve Pickett's side, they're going to be structured defensively and offensively, and they're always going to be hard to break down.
So it just breaks nicely here for the Bears. It may set up a burst, and it sits up for Cooper Buswell instead. He just didn't get the power on the header. And it was neatly taken by Isaac Terry in the end. But here is Al-Wasadi.
Oh, nice challenge.
O'Brien back to Davies. And will sit nicely for Ben Higgins.
Ooh.
Lost a bullet one forward towards Connor Hayden, but it's just going to beat Adamstown winger over the goal line.
Good ball in by Ben Higgins. Connor Hayden just checked his run. If he kept going, he would have got him behind.
spoke about Weston's progress, but Adamstown, they've been impressive too, and impressive at the back. They haven't conceded in their 3 matches so far in the 2018 Heritage Cup. They won against Maryland Fletcher 1-0. Against Cessnock they won 2-0. That was yesterday, and then against Walls End they won 1-0 up at Turner Park earlier today. And being a former defender, Shane Cansdale Sheriff would be very pleased with that, the Adamstown coach.
Yeah, he's been very pleased with his pre-season so far. He said, he's brought in a lot of young players, so it's all about getting the right structures, keeping it simple for the young players.
Subat again along the tarmac, and he got some purchase on it, Burston, but just didn't quite have the accuracy. It went flying over the goal. Got a decent amount of power.
Yeah, talking to Shane prior to the game, you're there too, Bart, just about his time at Leeds with Harry and Michael Bridges, Harry Kuehl and Michael Bridges.
He used to, we'll come back to that, as Josh Mcguire reads the pass perfectly across, and Isaac Terry will clean up the crumbs after that strike from Burston. Just getting a couple of chances away, Jackson Burston. There's Awasadi. Davies plays it back to the Saudi Arabian. And the free kick will go the way of the Bears. Spent some time with the Saudi national side in his younger years, the younger age groups. Did Turki Al-Wasadi. He's already scored for Adamstown in the Heritage Cup in that win over Maryland Fletcher.
Yeah, look.
Here's Morris chipping it forward to Mcguire. Appeals for handball. Clell had the whistle to his mouth. He's decided that it didn't strike the hand, and he's given a yellow card to Chris Berlin for some back chat. And now Robbie Turnbull's having a little bit to say as well, as is Ben Higgins.
Yeah, from first look, that looked like it struck his arm. It looked like he nearly caught the ball, didn't it, Bart? So the ball actually hit him on the chest and went backwards somehow. So when he was facing on that angle, so it must have hit part of his arm to go backwards.
Here's the corner curled in, and Terry did well to punch it away. And you sense if Weston had have scored then, I think James Cleal would have copped another goalful from a few of the Adamstown defenders.
Or strikers. Chris Berlin was a striker.
I should say the experienced veterans of Adamstown. You had Robbie Turnbull, Ben Higgins, Chris Berlin. Here's Nathan Morris. Back and across to Jordan Jackson. And his pass is misguided, and Al-Wasadi's going to try and take advantage of it. Dreads it through for Cox. Cox, he just dwelled on the ball a touch too long, and Mcguire was able to nip in and nick the ball off the former Hamilton Olympic striker. And this is the thing for Tom Cox. He's been playing so much in 20s over recent years with Hamilton Olympic. He's just going to have to get up to, just sort of get up to speed with the pace of this level.
That's right. It's the pace. It's a number of things. The pace, the physicality as well, and also the mental toughness. So sometimes with these young boys, they tend to drift in and out of games. So they need to stay in the game for the whole night, well, 60 minutes today.
Here's Subat again. It's been a focal point up the top end for the Bears so far, but O'Brien has his measure on this occasion. O'Brien looks for Chris Berlin. It got to him via Cooper Buswell's toe. And again, Adamstown flow forward via Connor Hayden. Has to cut it across the face, and they will have their first corner of the afternoon, the Rosebuds. As we look down to our left here, Smudge, decent crowd has come in this afternoon for the Heritage Cup final.
Well, it's a beautiful afternoon. There's nothing else on bar NRL, I think. But, yeah, there's no A-League game on, I don't think, this afternoon.
No A-League, no A-League. There's some WPL locally, first round of that competition. We just have got an issue. This is a big issue for the Bears. It's Q Yallians who is down, and this was this block he made on Connor Hayden's cross infield, which went over in the end for the corner kick for the Rosebuds.
Yeah, when he was chasing him back, he looked a little bit awkward when he was running. Obviously, this is their 5th game, so they're going to be tight. So the last thing you want leading into an NPL season is an injury in the week before the game. So hopefully he's okay, and you don't want to risk him. They've got a big game against the local derby next week in Maitland. So and he's such a vital cog to Weston this year.
He's just limping off the ground, and I would assume Steve Pickett is not going to risk him, and he's going to take him off and put him in cotton wool. Because they've got a big match next Saturday night against their local rivals, Maitland. That should be a cracking contest. Here is Al-Wasaidi whipping it in. Just had his radar off a little there, but Ben Higgins is able to make up for that. And he calls in a pinpoint cross, which Hurley dealt with. Nice turn from Judd Duncan now. Nice ball to Al-Wasaidi. Great touch from Al-Wasaidi. Chris Berlin, a metre either side, and Kane Runch had some work to do. He struck it straight at the man in green, and Weston survive.
Yeah, I think if Chris Berlin had his time again, he probably could have taken a touch forward and been one-on-one with the keeper, nice and close. But, yeah, nice shot, but Runge was in a great position to take it.
And a really good opening to this final. It's been very even, both sides with some chances.
And good tempo as well.
As we mentioned last year, Weston, 11th on the ladder. They had just one win in 20. For Adamstown, they finished 9th, 5 wins out of 20 matches last season. So both want to turn around their form. And we thought last year, Smudge, that Adamstown had turned a corner with that win over Edgeworth, but things just didn't go their way early on in the season. There's Al-Wasaidi on the turn. Do you feel it can be different for Adamstown this year?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be a lot like the comp's going to be fairly even again this year. I think the top few sides will probably like sort of break away towards the end of the season. But you know, Shane Kensdale Sheriff, he's got a tough job to do here. He's got some good experienced players, but he's also got a young squad. And some guys have never played first grade NPL or have just been playing off the bench. So I think he's got his work cut out. But however, you know, so far they're looking pretty good today.
And that's the issue, isn't it? It really comes down to money, and there's sides in the competition that have a bit more money, and sometimes you just got to look at that and go, well, let's just try and do the best we can with the amount of funds we have available. And
you've also got squads that they're established, like your Broadmeadows, your Lambtons, Edgeworth, even though they've lost a few players, but they're established squads, so the players have been playing with each other for years. So the coaches just need to tweak a few little things, get them mentally prepared, and they're going to be thereabouts towards the end of the season.
And for Weston, I just feel like they're a side to watch this year. They've just had that season last year with the young players, and now this year they've got some youth mixed with some experience. Hurley whips it in, get it across the face, and Chris Berlin, this could be awkward. It won't be. Fortuitously over the goal line. But another corner. Not from the preferred side for Nathan Morris, of course, being a right footer. How big an inclusion is he this year for Weston? Just from the set piece as well, because he left Weston a couple of seasons ago after they finished last in 2016. It was a tough season as Morris curls it in. Here's the volley from Mcguire. Well blocked by the Rosebuds, and here's Hurley, sits back for him, curls it in, burst and deflects it towards goal, and he was onside. I think Ben Higgins was just
lagging at the back
a little further and kept him onside there. Here's Hurley.
You're going back to Morris, what you said about Morris. It's also the way last week he played in a back three. He was sort of like the libero in the back three, and he just marshalled his troops, and he was a standout for Lambton last year. So they're bringing his set pieces along with him, but you're also bringing his experience, and I think he's a great addition for Weston. And you know what? He's got Weston in his blood. The whole family's got Weston in his blood, from his dad all the way through. So yeah, he's a great addition, and he loves Weston, so he'll do anything to play for Weston. Got some celebrities up on the box, haven't we, today, Bart?
We've got some big celebrities up here. We might have a chat to them a little later. It's exciting. I'll let you know. Still 0-0 here in the 2018 Heritage Cup final here on Bar TV. Ben Homer and Damien Smith with you in commentary this afternoon as Adamstown look to make it 2 wins in a row in the Heritage Cup, the first 2 seasons that it has been running. Weston have actually only lost 1 match in the Heritage Cup in the 7 that they have played. That was against Edgeworth last year, and that was what in there knocked them out of the competition. Here's Robbie Turnbull now, just slicing this one forward. We missed Robbie Turnbull last year, didn't we, Smudge, with that knee injury in the Heritage Cup. He sustained it last year, and that was a blow for Adamstown from the start. So fingers crossed he gets through this one, and he's just brings so much energy to the side, doesn't he?
Yeah, and bite as well, and tempo.
Here's Tom Cox. Danilo O'Brien.
Great ball.
Here's Connor Hayden across the face, and Kane Runge was just a little unsure what to do there. Fortuitously into his arms there as he tries to release Hurley. Here's Subat. Just got a toe in. Hurley. He's got Burston in the middle. Does he find Jackson Burston? He does, and just couldn't quite get the shot away before Ben Higgins was down there to make the block. And speaking to Shane Cansdell-Sheriff, the Rosebuds coach, pre-match, and he was very, very impressed with the work Ben Higgins has done in the off-season. Just his leadership ability. Of course, he was pretty much non-existent in Broadmeadow Magic's first-team lineup last year. He played a little bit in 20s, but didn't get much of a chance, an opportunity. This year at Adamstown, you think he's going to be the man at the back, which they look to as their leader. Here is Morris. Curling it in there is Chris Berlin. Didn't quite get it away as far as he would have liked. It might sit for Buswell. The turn from Wilkins, but Isaac Terry is there.
Yeah, I think it's a good move for Benny Higgins to move across to Adamstown. Obviously, he's been part of the Magic makeup for many years, but he didn't get much of a run last year or the year before, so he's been involved in many premiership and grand final wins for Broadmeadow Magic. I had him out there for quite a few years, and he's such a loyal and such a competitor, so it's great to see him back and getting a bit of his muffin top off him as well. He's always just carried a little bit. We just try to get it off him, but this year he's got it off and he's looking very fit, which is great.
There's Higgins on cue, and on cue, Yallians gets a touch as well there, but just couldn't win the ball for the Bears. He does look a little ginger, and he's put the hand up. Yep, he's done Yallians, I think. I'm surprised he's remained out there after that injury.
Yeah, me too. I would have taken him off. The NPL starts next week. You need to rest him. Put him in cotton wool.
And won't that be a great match next week? Maitland up against Weston. That'll be a cracking match.
And you know what? Saturday night at Maitland, so night games be more atmosphere.
Here's Buswell. Mr. Boot and Isaac Terry just inside the 6-yard box. Tries to release Hayden, but his chest down was a little too heavy. Buswell. Here's Wilkins now. Goes with the outside of his boot. It wasn't a bad ball, but Robbie Turnbull just fouled there by Wilkins.
See the experience of Robbie Turnbull. He pushed his right midfielder forward to shut the ball down. He positioned his body waiting for that ball. Yes, that's a foul.
Yeah, call from the assistant referee on this near side. James Quill just peering around to the side here, and Isaac Terry fouled, a little too eager from the Bears. So a reminder that these matches, it's only half an hour halves in this clash. So 23 minutes gone, so less than 7 to go before the break.
Sort of evened out, hasn't it? I thought Weston had the majority of the ball and or chances, especially in the first, say, 10 or so minutes. But Adamstown's really come into their own. They're playing with a bit more width. Weston's sort of bunched up a little bit, I think, at the moment, the last few minutes.
Subat again. Now to Mcguire. Two veterans combining. Back to Subat. Had to get back onto his right boot. They may have got away from a little spot of bother here, Adamstown, because Weston pushed forward. There's space in behind, which Connor Hayden looks to exploit here. Still with Hayden, he cuts away from Yallians.
Good challenge.
And then the free kick goes the way of the Bears. After Hurley has just fouled Hayden, just tried to pull him off the ball.
I'm really surprised Jallins is still out there. He's limping a lot. He's grimacing in his face. Unless it's just a knock, he's trying to run it out a little bit.
This one forward for the head of Hurley. But it will fall for the Rosebuds for Robbie Turnbull. Here's Al Wasadi. It's been a little quiet lately. Started with a flurry. Davies.
Great ball.
And at the moment, the score being level, I'd say is a fair reflection on the match. If you were talking about a boxing bout, you'd probably say at the moment Weston have it on a points decision.
Purely,
it's that tight.
Yeah, purely just of chances. If you look at the overall game, it's fairly evenish for me, but Weston have had probably more clear-cut chances. But in saying that, Adamstown's had a few really good chances actually. So yeah, I'd say Weston by nose at the moment.
And interestingly, as Turnbull just gives the ball up here, Q Yalanzi's still out there. Had the hand up before, thought he was going to come off. He's still there. Josh Mcguire chipping forward for Subat, who is offside. Stephen Laurie, the assistant referee on this near side, the grand final referee in the NPL last year. That's a big name to have on the sideline, isn't it, Smudge?
Oh, yes. Yeah, Stephen Laurie was outstanding last year, wasn't he, referee? He got referee of the year. Came second in Smudge's challenge too, so he had a big year. But
he's not just good at refereeing.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah.
And we are seeing Chew Yallians leave the park now. And it will be Regan Payne who's going to go and take his place. Gets a round of applause from the Bears fans. It's been at Maitland the last few years, Regan Payne. Making the move to Weston. Was there under Steve Pickett a couple of years ago. We'll see what he can do. He fills the big shoes of Q Yallians. Here's the turn from Jackson Burston, who goes back to Hurley. And Hurley chips forward for Regan Payne, who's making that overlapping run down the right flank. Whips it in, Isaac Terry there again.
Now that's good for Weston to get a bit of width. The last 5 or so minutes have been tucked in too tight. They need to, when they got possession, they need to get width. That's going to open the game up. At the moment, it's just a little bit too tight through the centre of the park, especially while they got 5 in the centre.
And they're not afraid to push the fullbacks forward, Weston, and it is causing some problems for them when Adamstown, on the turnovers where Adamstown can break quickly. We've seen Connor Hayden down this left edge cause some problems. Nathan Morris pushes forward. Now Al Wasadi after the turnover. Chris Berlin. He's got Cox in the middle. He curls it in, Tom Cox. He just couldn't rise. Maybe just held up a touch in the wind, Smudge, it seemed to me. And Tom Cox just couldn't get his head around. But Chris Berlin, he put it on a dime. So used to saying Chris Berlin in that position in the middle of the park. Here's Foster. Buswell now. And away from Duncan, who returned and made a strong challenge. That's a really good challenge from Judd Duncan.
Well played.
Now with Tim Davies.
The thing I like about Adamstown, when they have the ball, their two midfielders get nice and wide.
Al Wasadi just trying to dink it in towards the box.
And again, Weston, this is where I like to see Weston's wide right player come out nice and wide. There's no width out here. There's no width out the left-hand side. It's all a bit narrow for me at the moment. But that first 10 or so minutes, they'll sort of cutting Adamstown up in the width.
There's Connor Hayden. He's maybe listening to you. As O'Brien pushes forward. Hayden was against the touchline. And Cox, can he run it down inside the line? He can. Curls it back in, but Nathan Morris, a trademark right boot, has cleared it away. But Connor Hayden, he's been impressive, hasn't he, down this left flank?
Well, he's getting space, isn't he, because he's playing against the back three, so the wide right wing back has to track for Weston, which he can't do all day. So he's getting a bit of space down this left-hand side.
Burston look back for Foster, and they dive in. Both players come out unscathed. Here's Davies. Less than a minute to go in this opening half in the 2018 Heritage Cup final. It's been pretty even as of the opening half. Connor Hayden down towards the line. There's Chris Hurley again. He's done a mountain of work in the first half, and then he's got a little clip for his troubles from Tom Cox.
Yeah, it's been a good half of football, Bart, coming up towards half-time.
I've enjoyed it, Smudge. It has. It's been a good game of football, and James Cleal will send both sides to the sheds. Locked up at 0-0, so we're no closer to knowing who is going to win this 2018 Heritage Cup, whether it will be Weston, who win it for the first time, or Adamstown, who go back-to-back. 30 minutes left to go. And if we don't have a winner, we'll be going into a penalty shootout, as I understand it. We'll just have a look at this first half statistics. I think we have some first half stats here, Smudge.
Have we?
This could be exciting because we've got some new graphics this year here at Bar TV. Here we go. How good's this?
Oh, here we go.
So there's the corners. Weston, we did notice that they had dominated the corner count.
And probably should have scored off the 2 corners. They had 2 free headers off corners. So.
And just the 1 yellow card, that of course for Chris Berlin, and fouls conceded. Adamstown, look at that, 4-0. So giving away a few.
Yeah, and I think that they're probably initially in the first, say, 10 or 15 minutes when Weston were the more dominant side. But Adamstown really came into their own after about 10, 15 minutes and created a few chances. And to be honest, like you said, like a boxing match to me, it's even on points for me overall.
And it was that back end of the first half, maybe that last 6 minutes, they came into it, Adamstown, and started causing problems. And Connor Hayden seemed to be the focal point in that regard. Down this left flank, he was whipping balls in. Chris Berlin had another chance. Tom Cox as well. So some good opportunities for Adamstown. And Weston, they started the half very strong. So both sides have some positives to go into the break.
It was also coincided when Cool Jaylene sort of got injured. He wasn't particularly marshalling his trips too much because he was actually looking after himself, looking after his injuries. And I think it rocked Weston a little bit, and they lost their shape a little bit. Hence why Connor Hayden was getting space on this left-hand side because the back three weren't sort of shuffling and their wide wing-back was staying nice high and wide. So, and also, I thought in the last 10 or so minutes, Weston were bunching up in the middle of the park. They weren't getting width when they had the ball, and that's what was working very well in the first 10 or so minutes.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, Smudge. We'll be back in just a sec for the second half of this 2018 Heritage Cup final. I'll catch you very shortly. Welcome back to Jack McLaughlin Oval. We're just about to get underway for the second half of the 2018 Heritage Cup, sponsored by Ampcontrol. Great to have your company this afternoon from Edgeworth. The Bears getting through to the final after 4 wins from 4. Adamstown likewise. 3 from 3 in Pool B, getting through to their second final in a row. James Clearle, our referee, just about to get us underway. So it'll be Weston, the black and white stripes from right to left of screen in the second half. Adamstown with the green and red stripes on the front of their jerseys. They will be running from left to right. James Clearle, thumbs up. We're good to go in the second Heritage Cup final in the second half. And Nathan Morris chips forward, looking for an early run for their half-time substitute. Well, I should say just before half-time he came on Regan Payne for Q Yallians. And it's just beaten him over the byline. Will be an Adamstown goal kick. Just a little bit of confusion, it will be.
Yeah, talking to Steve Pickett just after half-time, Q Jalins has just jarred his ankle and should be right for next week. So he just got it caught in the turf a little bit. So was he
just hoping he could run it out?
Yeah, it sounded like. So, so he'll be right for next week. So just precautionary. And obviously, you know, the Heritage Cup is an important fixture, but the NPL starts next week, and that's where it all starts.
Jordan Jackson rose highest, as did Ben Higgins. A little bit of aerial ping-pong for a moment. Higgins there again. Oswell with the outside of his boot. Now Robbie Turnbull. And now Ben Higgins. His clearance, well, it's rugby league season, and they're going at it here. Ben Higgins just absolutely pulled down Jackson Burston there, and there will be a yellow card for Ben Higgins, because Burston was away and Ben Higgins knew it. Now they make amends and make up for it all, but gee, it looked a little bit testy for a moment there between Higgins and Burston. I think he had him in a headlock.
Yeah, what sort of manoeuvre was that? That was like an MMA sort of manoeuvre, It
was interesting from Ben Higgins, but it did the job in the end, because it's going to be, there's the second yellow card for Adamstown this afternoon. Chris Berlin and Ben Higgins in the book. Now I said it's probably a better option giving away the free kick than letting Burston have an opportunity on goal, a one-on-one opportunity, but they're giving Nathan Morris a chance with the dead ball situation, and he loves these moments, Nathan Morris.
And the keeper's off his line.
He scored last time in Western colours against Adamstown, and this time it comes off the wall and straight into the arms of Isaac Terry, so they get away with that one, Adamstown. The last match that Nathan Morris played against Adamstown in Bears colours, which was back in 2016 in a 4-1 win. He was on the score sheet from the penalty spot in stoppage time in that one.
Yeah, the other thing what Adamstown need to be a little bit careful of is they've got 2 players on yellow cards. They go into the season next week. They don't want no suspensions. So
it's Kane Runge. He's had I mentioned earlier, he's been with the Jets youth in the off season of the NPL. He was really impressive in goals for them in a few matches. Glenn Moss had to play. It wasn't Glenn Moss. Jack Duncan had to come back and play in one of the youth matches, but the rest, Kane Runge was between the sticks, and he was great, and he'll only be better for that. He's been with the Mariners youth and the Jets as well. And look at him to really step up for Weston. I know he had a couple of disappointing moments last year. I think this year he's going to be a star for Weston. As Wasadi was bumped to ground. I thought they had appeals for a free kick there, Adamstown. Waved away. Duncan.
It's all a bit tight here. I think Adamstown needs to use some width, get their right and left fullbacks, or even their right and left midfielders a little bit wider, give them some space so there's some options to pass.
Max Foster just nipped in there in front of Alex Graham, who's come on to park in the second half. O'Brien chips forward, looking for Morris, and now Hurley. Here's Rutledge.
And again, it's all congested in the centre of the park. It'd be good.
And you can see over on this near side there is so much space, isn't there? And here we go. Thurston has spotted it, and Josh Mcguire has given him that option. No look pass from Mcguire to Subat into the middle, and gee, it was a little nerve-wracking there for Isaac Terry as it bounced up into the gloves. It's very short for a goal, isn't he, Isaac Terry?
Yeah, I think if Subat had his time again, he'd probably take a touch, dribble it in a little bit, because he had some space there, because he only had one attacker or one Western player in the box at the time. So, yeah, it was hard to pinpoint him out. So, yeah, it was a good opportunity for Weston.
Here's Alex Graham. We've had some feedback via text about Al Wasaidi, the young Saudi. He was a star last year in Zone League, and I tell you what, I think that's a great pickup for Adamstown this year. And we spoke about, I was speaking to Shane Cansdale Sheriff just about the technical ability of Saudi players. They're so technically good, and here he is. Al Wasaidi burns away from, almost got away from Chris Early there. Here's Max Foster, and that's a poor ball from Foster. No one over on that side of the ground.
But even the way he sort of back, used his body position, knocked it around the defender, he's quite quick over 5 or 6 yards too.
It's the turn from Hayden. He was playing for Charlestown United last year. It was Turkey Al Wasaidi. Here's Weston flowing forward. Cooper Buswell nutmegs. Well, he got the nutmeg out on Rutledge, and here is Subat on the left boot. Diving in was O'Brien. He did well to block it. Here's Buswell, and he almost picked out the corner. Their leading scorer last year. He almost had a huge impact on this final.
Yeah, I think Weston could have done better there. It was 3v2 with open space everywhere going on the Adamstown, going towards the Adamstown defenders. So, yeah, he took it himself, but I think he had options right and left of him, which would have made it one-on-one with the goalkeeper. I think there's an opportunity missed for Weston, of course.
You'd say, just thinking back, probably their best opportunity of the match so far. They started the first half on fire, Weston. They just had a little lull at the back end, and they've started the second half in a very similar fashion. Here's Judd Duncan. Jordan Jackson. Back for Duncan. Has Turnbull with him and uses the option of the experienced right back. Duncan's touch takes him towards the touchline and over it. The second oldest club in the northern New South Wales region, still in existence, Adamstown, the oldest being Wallsend. The oldest club technically in this Heritage Cup competition, as we said, this free kick going away for Adamstown, is Maryland Fletcher, but they are representing Minmi Rangers, who started in 1884. So the oldest club that is still running and has run throughout, Wallsend, who of course in the New FM division this season, the New FM Northern League 1.
Yeah, I think it's a great concept, the Heritage Cup.
There's Turnbull curling it in. On the volley, Graham. And Jordan Jackson's pulled up very, very short there. It's a hamstring. I think it's his right hamstring. So we see Weston back on the ball through Foster and Subat. Up for Burston.
This is where I like to see Weston use the width when they get the ball. Break nice and wide, nice and early.
Now have got that speed, haven't they, to break early up in that front third.
Yeah, they tend to play it nice and tight in the middle of the park, which can easily be cut out by the Adamstown defenders or midfielders. So it'd be good if they use a bit more width, get a bit more space there.
Foster just tried to lay it off to Mcguire. Strong challenge as this one threaded over the top for Cox. Well, it was acrobatic, an acrobatic effort.
Oh, here we go.
And a little bit of afters actually just in front of us on this near side. It was Jackson Burston Going at it again, as here is Al-Wasadi. It's Mcguire.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit testy up there, isn't it, Bart? It's sort of, there's a bit of feeling in the match. We're playing for a trophy, so...
You've got to expect that as Turnbull. Here's Jordan Elphick. It's on the ground for Adamstown. He was at Maitland last season. It was Elphick and Burston who were just having a little bit of a set to in front of us a couple of minutes ago. See if anything else is simmering out there. Here is Al-Wasadi. Sends O'Brien on a run down the left, but he can't get the cross on target.
Yeah, I think the concept of the Heritage Cup is a great concept. I think it's one thing... Yeah, I think it's a great concept, but one thing playing the week before it's like Weston's playing 5 games the week before the start of the comp, so the main thing is not getting any injuries out of the weekend's football.
I think that's behind the decision to just put Q Yallens in Constable after that jarred ankle. So Steve Pickett said he'll be right for round 1 next week, the local derby, Coalfields derby, and I think the other name that came around was the El Clasico last year. I love that one as Isaac Terry just pumps this one over towards Regan Payne. Al-Wasadi slips and he tried to find Cox. Maybe just an opening here for Weston. Mcguire trying to run off the pass from Subat. And now Adamstown look to break through Judd Duncan, and it's going to come back for the free kick. James Cleal playing advantage. And Smudge, you've got a special guest.
Yeah, got one of my old mates, Cole Bunny Curran. Cole, welcome to the coverage, Bar TV.
Thanks, Damien.
Mate, it must be an honour to have the Player of the Match medal named in your name, obviously.
After all these years, since I've stopped playing it, it's a great honour, and there's a lot of other great players that played in the North that could have had the medal named after them, but I'm just tickled pink that it's me, and I thank them very much for it.
Now, mate, looking at the result here, Weston versus Adamstown, or the game, it's been a pretty tight match so far. I know you're an Adamstown boy, heart and heart, or obviously KB and Adamstown. Who do you think is going to get up?
Well, the first half was quite interesting, quite good. I thought Weston had the much more of the play and more opportunities. I was very impressed with the number 26 in the midfield, with the way distribution and setting up his forwards, and the game has fallen away a little bit in the second half. It's going to be a little bit hard to try and get someone to pick now. Yeah,
because the thing is, like both these sides have played 3-4 games. This is or their 4th and 5th game for the weekend, so it's pretty tiring on the players, especially leading into the NPL. So you haven't helped picking player of the match, or it's just you, mate?
No, Billy Walker, the president of the Northern Federation, is helping me, and I know, as you say, they're very tired. They've both played all weekend, and it's the final, and they must be very tired in their legs and everything. But they're putting up a good performance. The football's quite good, but I think the tiredness is creeping in there.
And just finally, you mentioned to me, you're probably going to hate me saying this, you turned 70 last year. What are you up to these days?
Oh, nothing, just grandkid mining and grandchildren mining, and doing a fair bit of walking to keep the weight off, and that's about it. Still drinking a beer.
All right, Barney, thanks very much for the time, and congratulations on having the player of the game medal awarded after you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate.
And all of a sudden, just in the last couple of minutes, the match has just gone up another couple of degrees in temperature. Just Burston and Robbie Turnbull coming together there, right in front of us. Less than 17 minutes to play. Just a half an hour half an hour halves in the Heritage Cup final, and if it is level at full time, we will be going straight into a penalty shootout.
Yeah, the intensity's starting to build now, this final 15 minutes. Obviously, they're playing for a trophy. You can hear Pickett barking orders out from the sideline.
There's O'Brien. Back to Duncan. Does he try his luck? Well, that may have winded Buswell. Struck him. Yeah, it has. It struck him straight in the stomach there. Cooper Buswell, he scored a double against Adamstown in round 4 last year. That was actually his first match for Weston. Came into the side and scored a double. And in that particular match, Adamstown led 3-1 and gave up the advantage. Just one of a few frustrating results at the start of last season for them. And he had a chance earlier in this second half. Just couldn't get it on target, Cooper Buswell. Here's Judd Duncan now.
And again, it's a little bit too tight for me. I like to see a bit more space.
Subat gets pulled down by Ben Higgins. And Weston have tried to take advantage here. Jackson Burston's had a shot which has hit the post down the other end of the ground. James Hill not playing advantage, and Weston looking to take advantage now. Adamstown just, we've got 2 balls on the ground actually. For the moment, it was an interesting passage of play.
I was surprised Khalil allowed that to go ahead because Morris is about 5 yards in front of where the free kick was and played it nice and early, but he probably should have been called back a little bit.
So James Clell is pulling out the yellow card again, and I think that's gone to Robbie Turnbull. So that's a second yellow card for Adamstown for a little bit of back chat to the referee, which isn't great. And from 2 of the experienced players, it's not something you really want to see. Number 3 for them this afternoon. And it's a corner for Weston.
Oh, better.
On the preferred side of Nathan Morris. He curls it in. Jordan Elphick got up to chest it clear. Morris again scuffs the shot, and Isaac Terry swoops in and grabs it.
Yes, Subert and Higgins were having a few cuddles during the corner there, so it's just starting to heat up a little bit on the park.
There's Jordan Elphick. Back he goes to Turnbull. Higgins. That's Judd Duncan.
That's well played. It's very well played. And they've got a bit of width here as well.
Good speed of movement here from the Rosebuds. And now Al-Wasadi has a chance to weave a little bit of magic. There's no one in the box for him. He had Elphick a little further back, and now Weston, via Josh Mcguire, have a chance to push forward. Burston with the 1-2. Foster.
This is where Weston want to get Josh Mcguire on the ball a little bit more, just in these pockets in front of the back 4 of Adamstown. Regan
Payne's ball across the face of goal. Didn't cause any headaches for the Adamstown defence. It's Kane Runge. Inside the final quarter hour of the 2018 Heritage Cup, sponsored by Ampcontrol, and Runge has just sliced that one. They sit in the end nicely. Here's Bo Wilkins getting fouled. Another former Edgeworth player in the Western lineup this afternoon, Bo Wilkins, because Jordan Jackson as well. Was at Edgeworth the season before last in 2016. Here's Morris. Goes Higgins. Oh, it's just nicely on the volley was Max Foster. And again, just the polish on the finishing from both sides. That's been the issue so far.
Well, both sides have had clear-cut chances, haven't they? But Western more so than Adamstown. But yeah, obviously it's early days. They've just done a hard pre-season. You're always going to be a bit rusty leading into the season, especially the week before the season. So, if anything, it's it's good for both sides to get a bit of rust out of their or cobwebs out of the system before the start of the NPL.
Here's Burston. He's been in the thick of the action this afternoon. And now Judd Duncan. Gee, there's some sliding challenges now. There's Cooper Buswell, Just went flying in. Now Regan Payne gets pulled to ground by Duncan. We may see another card here. That's the fourth for the Rosebuds this afternoon. That's Duncan, Berlin, Higgins and Robbie Turnbull for Adamstown.
Just again, when Weston had the ball, they were very tight in the middle of the park. I like to see them spread a bit more space. Create them one-on-one situations.
So Morris, who's he looking for here? He's got Cooper Buswell. He's got Jamie Subat, who making that run towards the back post. Jordan Jackson as well. There's some tall timber for the Bears. Here's Morris putting it on a dime. And again, it will just... Well, the assistant on the far side thought it was a corner. He's changed his mind and gone with the goal kick. But that was perfectly placed from Nathan Morris again.
Again, Nathan Morris. He's brilliant on those balls. See it just dip over the back line.
Does he ever whip in a bad free kick? Or
not that often. Not that often.
Here's a bad turnover for Adamstown. Can the Bears make them pay? They can't. Jamie Subat.
Yeah, first time ball to Subat into Mcguire, then they're away. He had that extra touch, Jamie.
Can they build it up here, Adamstown? Duncan. Been all on the ball a lot in the midfield. Puts it over the top for Cox. And Runge swooped in and plucked it out of the air, which was important. He's got long limbs as Tom Cox, and he almost got a toe in. Turnbull. Back to Higgins. Safety first over the sideline.
He's been solid, Benny Higgins, at the back. I think he's marshalled his trips really well. By that little scramble where he lost the ball and had to make the rugby tackle, he's been very solid today, Benny Higgins.
And they've got just 10 minutes left, Adamstown. If they don't concede, it'll mean a full Heritage Cup
Clean
without
sheets.
conceding a goal, which is important going into the regular NPL season next weekend, which we should give a plug to, Smudge. Next week, UNCT are going to be at Arthur Eden Oval next Saturday for Lambton Jaffers and Edgeworth Eagles, the grand final replay, which should be an awesome fixture to be at.
Yeah, an absolute cracker. Looking forward to it. We're going to miss you, Bart. So
I know I'm going over to New Zealand, so I won't be there, but looking forward to be back for round 2.
And I apologise in advance for me and CT's murmur next week. So
here's Connor Hayden. Just a piloted across to Elphick. It sits up for Duncan. And Judd Duncan to Jordan Elphick. Across the face.
Morris
Hayden
has been standout, hasn't he, at the back?
And Hayden, he was so impressive down the left in the first half. He's been moved centrally. As O'Brien tries to line that one up.
Great ball.
Al-Wasadi whips it in. Runge spills it and then is able to regather. Maybe just went with hard hands there, Bears keeper, but was able to recover. He may have a big role to play in the shootout if we remain level for the final 8 minutes. Al-Wasadi stepped away from Regan Payne. Here's Graham. Wants to go along the turf. It's a little slower than he anticipated. It's a poor ball from Jackson. He's given it away, and Runge was off his line, but Duncan just couldn't get the power on it to get it up and over the Bears keeper. Here's Hurley. You're pointing over there, Smudge, for the triangle there for the Bears, and Mcguire gets a tug. Here's card number 5.
Just had to be a little bit quicker for the Bears. If they played it quicker, they would have been roundabout.
So Alex Graham into the book now for Adamstown. Is there a discipline issue here for Adamstown? That's 5 yellow cards, Smudge.
I don't think so. They're young, and I think, I don't know, they're desperate to win. They're trying to win every ball, and they just, obviously, that one, Weston were away, so it was a professional foul. A few of them have been professional fouls, so I don't think there's a discipline issue. Like I said, it's their 4th game. It's Weston's 5th game over 2 days, so it's quite a hectic schedule. So sometimes players are a bit tired, and he's had a good game, hasn't he?
Yeah, Al-Wasadi, man from Saudi Arabia. You'll see a lot more of him this season. This youngster Matt Sikulski from Maitland. He was at Maitland last year with Shane Kensdale. Sheriff makes the move to Adamstown. Morris. This is on target from Nathan Morris. At least I thought it was. It was just a little offline because it had the perfect trajectory, didn't it? It was like a long-range grenade towards the back post.
I was watching Morris's body language. You can see him leaning to the left, so I knew he was going to miss just the way.
And that's what usually happens when CT plays golf, isn't it? He's always leaning to the left because he is always hooking it into the trees.
No, he's always slicing it to the right-hand side. So he leans to the left, so trying to egg the ball to go left because it's always in the bushes.
Well, that's our one barb for the afternoon. So if you're listening, CT, I think he's driving back from Port Mcquarrie today. So hopefully it's not too bad on the roads. Rutledge, back he goes to O'Brien. Skipped on. He's able to recover.
Adamstown's got really good width here. If they can spread the ball nice and wide. Oh.
It was neither here nor there, the pass. And
yeah,
Wilkins was able to nip in, and this ball's almost cleaned up the camera. Up here at the top of Jack McLaughlin Oval. 5 minutes to go in the 2018 Heritage Cup Final, sponsored by Ampcontrol. Weston in their first Heritage Cup Final. Adamstown in their second, and the second in 2 years for them. They look to make it back-to-back wins after beating Edgeworth in a penalty shootout last season. Look at the speed of Connor Hayden. Another one to look out for, but he just ran into a cul-de-sac there, and Subat is after that. Isaac Terry just having a little look around, and Subat slid in, and he may earn the ire of the Adamstown faithful here, Jamie Subat. And James Cleal is just going to go and have a look to see if Isaac Terry is all right. Smudge,
yeah,
was that fair? Was that a fair ball for Jamie Subat to go after?
The ball was there. The keeper was tempting him, but I don't know. I thought it was safe in the keeper's possession, but the ball was free, and he obviously had every opportunity to go for it. But
Subat not impressed at all. As you heard Steve Pickett just telling Jamie Subat, just calm it down.
He's been sent off a few times in his time for being a bit more, a
little bit over the top.
Over the top, yeah.
And he's got some length on that, hasn't he, Isaac Terry? Nathan Morris up to Subat. It took a little ricochet off Luke Rutledge.
But Subat is a competitor. He always wants to win, and that's which I think is a good thing as well. So, and he'll bring that little bit of mongrel into the Western camp as well.
Here's Turnbull. Along the tarmac to Judd Duncan, who's, well, he's had 2 and 3 Western players come across and gives away the free kick. Then Higgins across to O'Brien. Here's Alex Graham. Rutledge. Western really pushing on here now, looking for a late winner. Established in 1907. The Bears in their 110th year, 110 years old now. Adamstown, of course, established in 1889. Second oldest club still running in northern New South Wales. Here's Robbie Turnbull. Down towards the byline. Infield for Sikulski. Sikulski dinks it up and over the top. Up rises Hayden. Just mistimed the jump. And O'Brien looks for Hayden. Receives the return ball. Judd Duncan now. Almost got scythed down. Threads it through. Cox. Just had a little too much pace.
Adamstown's still got some legs in them, I think. They're still running. The young boys are still running. Weston have just slowed up a tad. They have played the extra game over the course of the weekend.
It's got to come into it. Has to come into it, having played an extra hour of football.
But also they've played against NPL sides. Adamstown's played against the lower division sides, where Weston's played against another 2 NPL sides.
Subat just trying to turn his body to just allow a chance to be created for the Bears. Here is Subat into Turnbull and Graham. It's turned over. Sikulski. A chance that they can bring it wide here, but as you've mentioned this afternoon's match, just a little too compact in the middle. This is some space which appears down the left for Adamstown. Here is Connor Hayden, and Regan Payne wins that battle for the moment. Just holds up the ball, whips it down the line. Graham has to backtrack, find Rutledge.
They're sitting pretty deep here, Weston. There's some space out there. If Adamstown need to move the ball a little bit quicker.
Hayden looking infield. Mcguire, is this the moment here for Weston? It just opens up for Burston to flow forward, and he took on the strike. Does Mcguire take it on? He calls it across the face, but Ben Higgins just puts the right boot through it. And the second ever Heritage Cup final will go to penalties. Last year it was 1-1 after full time. This year 0-0, and it will be decided from the spot. The 2018 Heritage Cup Grand Final, sponsored by Ampcontrol. So we will just wait a few minutes. I'll do the toss, and we'll be going straight into a penalty shootout. Smudge, it's the lottery, the football lottery.
To be honest, over the course of the 60 minutes, it was an even contest. I think Weston had probably more clear-cut chances, but if you look over the course of the game, it was an even bout.
An even bout.
An even bout, yeah. We spoke about it earlier. If it was a boxing match, it'd be hard to decide. But if you're looking at clear-cut chances, probably Weston.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at the Facebook comments on our stream, and Mick Stafford has actually just he just posted a comment about unleashing Teague Marcus. That was really interesting. So Teague Marcus scored.
He's injured
twice. Okay.
Yeah, I've spoken to Steve Pickett before the game. He got injured. He's got a bit of a knock, but he'll be right for next week.
Yes, I was thinking because he scored twice in their opening 2 games, Teague Marcus. So that's the reason that he's not playing. Because that's a big decision not to include him for this. But I'm fascinated to see, Smudge, the step up from UFM to the NPL for Teague Marcus. He scored 20 goals last year in the UFM division. This year in the NPL, we'll find out how big the step up is.
Yeah, I think it'll be difficult for him. However, Steve Pickett said he's been outstanding in pre-season. Like I said, he's knocking in goals. But he'll adapt. As more games he plays, he'll just adapt to the pace of things. And he's going to be against top-line defenders in the competition. So I'm very interested to see how he'll go.
So we're just about to work out which end. I assume we're going to be running towards the northern end. Here are the stats on the screen, Smudge. As you can see, Weston in favour on the corners. Fouls conceded. Adamstown, they were giving away fouls left, right and centre, and picked up 4 yellow cards. So, yeah, they didn't have a great afternoon in the discipline department, the Rosebud. So I should say 5, I believe it was. So, yeah, not a great afternoon. We see the toss, so James Cleal has got the coin out just in front of us. And we'll find out who is going to... And this is my bug with the football penalty shootouts. I'm not entirely sure how they are working it in the Heritage Cup. I will try and find out.
You brought this up last year, didn't you?
I'll bring this up every year. So the side that shoots first in the penalty shootout wins something like 60% of the time.
I think it's 68 or 69%, yeah.
So there's been calls to change it to the A, B, B, A.
Like a tennis game.
Like a tennis tiebreaker. So it's going to be Adamstown to take the first spot kick. And Smudge, good news is that I've got the rules in front of me, so I can double check the rules with...
It's probably a good opportunity in the Heritage Cup to actually try something out, something new with the penalty shootouts, or...
No, there are no changes. It's the penalty shootout as described by the FIFA laws of the game, so it will be the regular shootout. So it'll be Turnbull v Runge to start us off. Who has the advantage in the penalty shootout to you, Phil? I know we say Adamstown because they're going first, Smudge, but...
I'm going to say Weston because the larger goalkeeper.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was going to say. I was going to say Runge is a little bit a little bit taller than Isaac Terry. Not
Quite.
not massively taller.
No, quite tall. I reckon a good half foot.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And look at and his arms are probably a good half foot as well. So, but ultimately it comes down to a bit of luck and the strike of the ball by the player as well. So, but obviously Runge makes the goals look a lot smaller for the penalty taker.
So here we go. The experienced Robbie Turnbull to strike first for the Rosebuds. And he slots it away neatly. Robbie Turnbull against his former club, Weston. He's played over 200 matches for the Bears. You can see, though, the respect between those two, Nathan Morris and Robbie Turnbull. Stalwarts at the back for the Bears. Playing together just a couple of years ago.
They would have played 150 combined, like together with each other, I'd say.
They were in that grand final side in 2014 for Weston. The last time the Bears made a grand final in the top flight in northern New South Wales. So here it is, Morris, the dead ball extraordinaire, versus Isaac Terry, the young up-and-coming goalkeeper. And Morris, well, he just picks out the bottom corner, doesn't he?
Yeah, he did it beautifully well. Just placed it, not too hard. Now, Benny Higgins, I've seen Benny Higgins take many a penalty over the years at his days at Magic. More so at training than rather during a game. And he hit a sweet ball, Benny Higgins. I don't want to put the mocker on him, but I won't say.
So here we go. Ben Higgins. Well, it took a little bit of paint off the left post on its way through, but they all count, Smudge.
Yeah, exactly right. It looks like Kane Runge just hurt his finger a little bit, yeah. So the power in that shot by Higgins, but Kane Runge very unlucky. He picked the right way, but the power behind Higgins' shot just got through. So looking at Runge now, he's a bit disappointed in himself. He didn't save it. So
I think you really do have to have strong hands, don't you? Power these spot kicks come at you.
So look at the difference between Kane Runge and Terry in goals.
So 2-1 Adamstown with the advantage in the shootout. And it's Josh Mcguire. He is a dead ball specialist as well. And he does likewise.
Beautiful penalty, wasn't it? Just well placed. Not too much power.
Very similar to Nathan Morris's, straight into the bottom left corner. And it's 2-2. Parity restored.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed, most penalty takers, especially in Europe, they go straight down the centre these days. So each penalty taker's gone to a corner, which is sort of the old-fashioned way.
I always think in a match situation, if you get a penalty, you should go down the middle, because if the keeper saves it, it'll probably come straight back at you. Because if you're kicking towards the corners, just with the angle of the save, it's going to be pushed further wide. But that's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Connor Hayden. Are we going to see a Panenka? Surely not. Here he is, Connor Hayden. So impressive in the match, and impressive also from the spot. Slips that one away.
I like the way he actually attacked the ball when he took the penalty. A few people sort of just jog up and place it. He actually attacked the ball with pace and just slid it through. So Kane Runge going the wrong way.
So we've had a perfect penalty shootout so far. 5 from 5. Is that the curse? Is it,
It could be the curse.
Surely not. Come on, Jordan. Here he is, Jordan Jackson.
Oh, beautiful.
That's a lovely penalty, isn't it?
From this angle, that was beautiful, wasn't it? Just the way he tucked it
into the
that
side
left
netting.
Yeah.
Hit the side netting first and rolled around. Very funny from Jennifer Pedisano, who's put a comment on Facebook. Hope we see a howitzer. Yes, that's very funny, Jennifer. We may see some howitzers this year from Aaron Pedisano.
Yep.
So be in action next Saturday in the match of the round for Edgeworth against Lambton. Here we go. Here's Sikulski for Adamstown, and Kane Runge saves the first penalty saved in the penalty shootout. And it's Kane Runge, the Bears keeper.
Yeah, the play, he just didn't connect as firmly as he probably wanted to, and Kane Runge picked his spot and got down quick enough, and a great save by Kane Runge.
So advantage Weston in the shootout.
So is this for the win?
No, one more.
One more, sorry. Sorry about that, Oz.
So Jackson Burston, he was at Lambton last year, and it just sneaks in under Isaac Terry.
Yeah, Isaac Terry very unlucky.
He's a little embarrassed, Jackson Burston, after that one. So if this is missed by Tom Cox, the Bears will have their hands on the silverware.
So just
for the very first time.
Yeah, so just going really quickly back to size of the keeper, because that was just a bit wide, it sort of just snuck in and Terry just couldn't reach, because if that was Runge, I think Runge might have picked the ball out there.
There it is, Tom Cox, a lot of pressure on it, and he pushes it wide, and the Bears win the Heritage Cup for the very first time. They beat last season's champions, Adamstown Rosebud. And you can see that means a lot to the Coalfields club. Success for Steve Pickett's men, and they win the first silverware on offer in 2018. They'll enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, well deserved by Steve Pickett and the Weston Football Club. It's been a tough few days for them, obviously playing against more NPL sides than Adamstown, but I thought the great afternoon of football, great to start the season off. I thought the tempo was really good. I thought some of the ball play was excellent. But yeah, congratulations to Weston, and if you're looking at clear-cut chances and probably overall performance over the weekend, I think Weston deserve it.
Yep, a great afternoon of action, Smudge, and congratulations to the Bears. Both sides you feel a little rusty in front of goal, but they'll get a little bit more time next week to iron that out. Adamstown taking on the Jets Youth at home at Adamstown Oval, and Weston up against Maitland in the Coalfields Derby.
Yeah, I think every club at this stage of the season are going to be a little bit rusty, especially coming into the first game of the season next year. I think the main thing for both coaches is they get minimal injuries out of this weekend. So I know years ago when I was coaching, I would give the boys the weekend off leading into the comp just to get their batteries recharged and raring to go for round one. So great afternoon of football, and Edgeworth's done a great job of putting on the final here.
I'm just double checking whether we are going to stick around for the presentation. Or are we gonna leave it here? The presentation is just about to get underway, so we might stick around and see the trophy. It's such a nice trophy, isn't it, Smudge? Bright, very
it's definitely been polished up. It's an old trophy,
well
they said. Yeah, very well polished up. It looked brand new, but it is an old trophy. There's a few old names on there back in the 1930s, isn't there, Bart? And next to the trophy, we've got the Cole Bunny Curran Medal for Player of the Match. We've been told who it is, but we'll wait to...
I was going to say, who would you go with, Smudge?
There's been some standout players from both sides. I thought.
Tell me who was in the running, because you had the inside word.
Well, I actually don't know. They just told me who the winner was. So,
so there you
there
go.
was definitely a few players in the running. I think for Weston. Well, do you want me to say who won it?
No, don't say.
No, I won't.
Let's say for mine, Nathan Morris was very impressive at the back. Josh Mcguire, great in the midfield as well. I'd say those two were most impressive. Jackson Burston, he was in the thick of everything. It was all happening when Jackson Burston was involved. And for Adamstown, I'd probably be looking to Connor Hayden. I thought he was great. I really thought Connor Hayden was one of the best players out there this afternoon.
I agree. He's a very elusive player. He's got pace. He's good at running at players. So I thought Benny Higgins at the back was really solid.
I agree. Ben Higgins, great.
With Luke Rutledge. So they went clean sheets for the 4 games through the Heritage Cup, which builds great confidence leading into the NPL season next year. But one of those players is player of the match, Bart. So,
and we'll go down to Liam Bentley for the presentation. Liam this year is the replacement for Gary Fisher at Northern New South Wales. So we'll head down to Liam.
Regan Payne, all of Weston Rockers Bears, your Ampcontrol 2018 Heritage Cup champions.
Well, Smudge, great to see Weston with the trophy in their hands. Just a reminder to everyone, next Saturday from 2:30, it's you and CT with the mics in your hands at the round one, the opening match of the NPL.
Yeah, that's going to be very scary. So this is a massive honour for Western Bears. The first cup on offer for the season, and they've got it. Gives them great confidence going into the season. But like you said, me and CT next week at Lambton versus Edgeworth, that's going to be a debacle, but we'll do our best with you not being there.
And just before we go, NPL show this week, 7 p.m. on the NPL Northern New South Wales Facebook page. Make sure you check it out. We're looking forward to getting through another fun season of the NPL Northern New South Wales weekly show. It should be entertaining.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm going to have to carry CT again.
All right, thanks for watching this afternoon. Western Bears, too good in the 2018 Heritage Cup Grand Final, winning on penalties 4-3.